Hello again, thanks for joining me. I thought at the end, as we come towards the end of July, you might be interested in an update on Iran. And so that's why I'm looking back over the past month and seeing what has been happening in Iran and its proxy allies of Syria and Turkey. Now, recently, on July the 20th, Mr. Putin decided that he was going to take a little trip out. He's been rather reclusive in the Kremlin for quite some time, and we never really know whether it's him or one of his lookalikes, but in fact it probably was him, because he made this visit out of the Kremlin and he flew to Tehran on the 20th of July. He literally had this wonderful red carpet rolled out for him at Tehran airport, and he was met by the Iranian President Rouhani. And at the meeting that followed the arrival at the airport, there was the Turkish President Erdogan as well. Now, from the photos that you can see, if you look back in the news for July 20th, you'll see that the President Rouhani had Putin on one side and Erdogan on the other, holding their hands and saying, yeah, we're together, we are allies together. And it's rather clear from this meeting, the way in which the press has reported this meeting, that Iran fully supports Russian invasion of Ukraine. So what were they talking about? Well, they must have been talking about strategies against Israel. That would have been their main talking point. Now, apart from this Tehran meeting, I want to draw your attention to the situation at Damascus International Airport. Now, why would I want to do that? Because during the month of July, two Iranian airlines, Caspian and Keshmer Fars, you can see the spelling in the notes, were forced to suspend their activities and their flights from Iran into this airport at Damascus, into this main airport. And Syria, therefore, had to close the airport. The airport was then taken over. The flights were redirected into Aleppo. Now, what had happened? Why were these flights postponed or delayed? Because Israel, under the new interim Prime Minister, Yair Lapid, he took over on July the 1st from Bennett, with whom he had shared power. He had proactively instructed the IDF, the Israel Defense Force, to conduct airstrikes around this main Syrian airport for civilian flights. Why did they want to stop those flights? Well, because hidden on those flights were weapon parts and weapons. Deadly weapons were being ferried in on those flights to use in Syria, to take them on to Hezbollah, the terrible organisation that attacks Israel all the time. It's a terrorist organisation. And those deadly weapons were coming in on civilian flights from Iran and landing at Damascus. So after trying diplomacy, Lapid decided it was going to be best to crater the tarmac. I've also seen some photos of that, and that's a really excellent job they did. There was no chance that planes were going to land on that airstrip. So what was being brought in were Iranian and Russian-built precision-guided missiles. They call them PGMs. Now, if those precision-guided missiles got into the hands of Hezbollah in any numbers, it could greatly change the balance of power at this present time. Now, Israel calls this time, in its terminology, this is a war between wars, because Israel knows there's another big war ahead when it decides to bomb the nuclear facilities in Iran, and that's going to cause a kickback reaction from Russia and from Iran, and Israel is going to be prepared for that. But at the moment, we're in a war between wars. Mahan Airlines have continued from Tehran into Aleppo in the northwest part of Syria, so it's most probable that PGMs are continued to be imported into the country. Now, when you look at these three buddies together, Putin, Rouhani and Erdogan, they're all suffering from the same sanctions imposed upon them by the West, by the United States and the West. So their close alliance is not difficult to understand. Politically, Israel is not very strong at the moment because, as you say, the new Prime Minister has just taken over from Bennett. Lapid has just taken over. And because of the insecurity of the Knesset and the voting system there, there's definitive new elections for the Knesset being called for November the 1st. So Israel is in a little bit of a weak position politically. It knows, as I say, that there's going to be a larger and bloodier war needs to be fought, as Ezekiel 38 prophesied. Now, I just finished this blog with jogging your memory of some ancient names. It'd be good if you reread Ezekiel 38. Rosh is Russia, Persia is Iran, Put is Libya, Meshech and Tubal is Turkey, and Aram is Syria. These nations are lining up, but the God of Israel knew this centuries ago. He's not panicked by this because he announced it through his prophet. His ancient people will come through this. Of immediate interest, watch out in the news to see how Russia reacts to the bombing of the Damascus airport. There are thousands of Russian troops propping up the puppet government of Bashar al-Assad. I'll tell you more about this next month. God bless. Bye-bye.